want to be known as a family that cared. And we always, no matter who we were around, we try to make people around us better, technically. But we would show them, like, hey, this is what we do. We had friends that was out on the outside out there who, during that time, where everybody was trying a little marijuana, except me. You don't do that around me, period. You say you're my friend, get off of it, come over here. We didn't gangbang. You want to do that stuff, you get away. You're my friend, you do what I do. And I don't do any of that stuff there. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Even today, I think at that time, my 6-year-old niece, she had more alcohol in her, only because they were at a Jewish synagogue and this grape juice was on the table. She thought it was grape juice and she went over there and picked it up and I have never had alcohol in my mouth ever. Cigarettes, never. Marijuana, never. Any other kind of drugs? No, you want to be around me, this is where you have to be. I had technical friends in high school till I found out if they were smoking and drinking, you ain't my friend anymore. I wouldn't even be around people like that. So people had to come to us. They would come to our house, they would come to our family, and they would see and then they just loved it. They gravitated to it. So being that kind of family to say that we just cared about people and we tried to uphold, I say uphold, not that we were going out there doing it intentionally, but it's just the way that we would always carry ourselves around people. We never put anybody down. We never put anybody out. You were always accepted in this family. And the way my mother would say it, every one of you had a door into this family that only you come in and out of. It's not how you got here. It's that you're here. They know that. These guys bring in their wives. These are my sisters. Period. Don't do nothing around me that I'm gonna have to tell my sister on you about. Don't do it. But that's just the way our family is. And we were always that family that when you see that house, you know it's Mr. Chief and Miss Theola's house. Come in. And that's the way we've always been. And I would not like to have that change at any time.
Yeah. I would say the same thing as,
I'm sorry, a second.
Yeah, I would say the same thing is just a family that cares, a family that and again, my father had a saying, is someone in a better position because you were in their life? If they're not, then you probably shouldn't have been in their life in the first place. So looking at that and, again, looking at the first half and the bottom half, how I was and when I grew up, I grew up in the 80s, really, at the time of, with gangs and drugs, whatever it might be. I didn't do that. A lot of my friends did, but they respected the fact that I didn't do it. It wasn't that, oh, you have to do it or whatever else it was. They can go smoke and we come back together, still go play basketball or whatever it might be. I didn't do it. But, they were still my homies. They were still, we grew up together because, since we were 5 years old, I tell them from the cradle to the grave, those are my people. And, we really embraced a lot of the community. And that community embraced us. I know I'm going to go a little bit. Gary had in our front house, we were on the duplex in Sunland Gardens. So the front house, actually, he painted a sign on the front was the Soulful Shack in the front house. So my brother Terry had a band, and their band would come over there and practice. And so soon as they're practicing, people in the yard dancing, my mom's out there dancing, people coming around. It was just like a big old party in the neighborhood when my brother's band was there practicing. People knew they could come there and kind of hang out without feeling, we didn't have plastic on the couch. You know what I mean? You could just come hang out and have fun. I think that's why a lot of my friends, anyway, I know, and I talk to them later, is like, they just felt kind of loose and free at our house. It was no expectations of, you didn't have to take your shoes off. You just come in and, we eat and hang out, and they just love being in that whole atmosphere. It was just, we embraced a lot of people in the neighborhood, but we still took care of business, as far as education is concerned. 10 people, 10 high school graduates, bachelor's degrees, Juris Doctor degrees. So not to brag on
Hey,
it,
let's not forget the PhDs.
the PhDs, but not to brag on it. But again, understanding the times and where we are, I learned later on, it's not necessarily bragging, but it is, because I talked to some people like, we looked up to you. We looked up to you guys, say, damn, we wanted to do that. Because I have a friend of mine, my mom used to have our caps on the wall with cap and gowns. She would have them all on the wall. And so my friend said, he walked in when they said, I want a wall like that for my kids. that was his inspiration. I'm like, so wow, that really blew me away. I didn't know that later on. He told me that. He said, but that was his inspiration for his kids.
We don't leave home. We just gonna go from one home to another home. And these are all our parents and all our cousins. We all knew like brothers and sisters, literally.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the one thing that still today my situation is trying to get the younger generation to be around and be associated with this family. Like I tell them, we go to our family reunions and I tell my kids, I say, every one of these people out here, you own, period. You own every one of them. This 75 years of reunions and this 54 years of reunion, you own every one of those years. At 25 years, it's a legacy and you get to own all of it. And I try to teach this to the kids and make them understand at that time there that we must continue with this. Get the kids involved and always get the kids, have them around you when you're doing things, let them see it. The way my father would take me to work with him. And people say, well, your father, he only had a 6th grade education. I say, no, he just stopped going to school in the 6th grade. That's all.